The human body is the most accurate truth sensing device available to us. It is more precise, more honed, more effective than any scientific device we have ever created or ever will create. Because when we are really in touch with our intuition and we know how it feels, it is divinely guided. And this is why humanity has been systematically divorced from our bodies, because when a person is cut off from their intuition, they can be controlled. Hey everyone, I know there's this concept that those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, but what about the idea that those who don't know history don't have the opportunity to repeat it? Right now, the divorce rate between humans and our bodies is sky high. We have fallen out of touch with the wisdom that is within us. We don't know what our intuition feels like. We don't know how to listen to our body. And the worst part is, we don't know how it used to be. We don't know how different life used to be for humans when we were connected with our bodies. So we don't know what we're missing out on, and we don't know how good it can get. And that's what I want to talk about today. In all ancient cultures, our ancestors were so in tune with their body's wisdom. They were able to communicate with nature and with their bodies. And this opened the doors to a degree of harmony with nature and with their environment that a lot of humans find incomprehensible today. But it's a really beautiful and important thing to understand where we came from and what we can go back to. One example of this is that in all ancient cultures, the shamans and the tribal healers made their plant medicines because the plants would sing to them the healing that they wanted to offer humanity. The plants would literally tell the healers, here's the healing I offer and how I can be in service to you. So as a plant intuitive, I follow in this lineage, and I've had this experience. This is something I've talked about before in these videos, and it's a phenomenon very much like animal intuitives have when they communicate to another species. You know, if you've ever seen a real horse whisperer, they're doing more than just, reading the horse's body language and using their own body language. They are communicating on an energetic and telepathic level with that animal. It is cross-species communication, and this happens with plants as well. Another example of this communication that used to be commonplace in indigenous cultures was animal tracking. Some individuals were able to put their hand in the track of an animal, and they would actually see where the animal was. They would have the eyesight of the animal in that moment. Some people would be able to see these faint blue lines on the horizon, kind of the energy lines of where the animal had walked, and that's how they were able to track the animals in hunting expeditions over very long distances. As another example, some indigenous tribes in Africa, they would actually communicate telepathically with the hunting party. So the tribe at the home base would be able to communicate telepathically with people who were far away. So it makes us think, are cell phones really progress, or have we just found a more physical means of communication that used to be done on this energetic and consciousness level? Another example of this deeper intuitive connection we had was that in ancient cultures, some individuals would be able to sense the presence of water underground through a process called dowsing. And in all of these ancient cultures, there's this really cool parallel where individuals were so in touch with the wisdom and the nutritional needs of their body that they were able to intuit the optimal diet given the environment they were in, right? So the Inuit in Alaska would be eating different things than the Maori in New Zealand, for example. But in all these ancient cultures, they landed on the optimal nutrient profile for the human body in order to have absolutely healthy pregnancies and optimal fertility and avoid chronic illnesses and dental problems. And Dr. Weston Price talks about this in his book. The human body is the most accurate truth sensing device available to us. It is more precise, more honed, more effective than any scientific device we have ever created or ever will create. Because when we are really in touch with our intuition and we know how it feels, it is divinely guided. And this is why humanity has been systematically divorced from our bodies, because when a person is cut off from their intuition, they can be controlled. For example, if we lose our intuition around food and nutrition, then we can be controlled by food corporations and by the diet industry. And if we lose our intuition around what feels good to put on and in our bodies, then we can be controlled by the beauty industry and the cosmetic surgery industry. If we lose our intuition around the natural normal spectrum of human emotion and spiritual experience, then we can be controlled by the pharmaceutical industry and their psychotropic drugs. And if we lose our intuition around how the human body is a symbiotic environment of trillions of bacterial and viral and human cells, then we can also be controlled by the pharmaceutical industry. I want to share a really simple but very important ratio with you. So the more that human intuition goes down in a society, the more that illusion will go up in that society. Okay, so this is the true in any kind of corporation, religion, government. The more that human intuition is suppressed and distrusted, the more that we lose touch with reality. So the big question is, how do we reconnect with our body's wisdom? How do we get back in touch with our intuition? There are two steps here. The first is more physical and felt. The second is more intellectual. So the first step is learning how to feel your intuition, how to physically reconnect with your body. Okay? Intuition is a skill you can learn, much like playing an instrument. So just like a musician with practice, they're going to learn how to hear nuances in the music, and they're going to learn how to develop certain muscle memory. The same is true with your intuition. You're going to actually learn how to hear more around you and within you. You're going to develop muscle memory for that ability. The second step here is more intellectual, like I said, and it is learning how to see propaganda, mind control, and cult dynamics. There has never been a more important time in history than to develop this skill set. The endpoint to all of these manipulative strategies and techniques is to create unquestioning obedience from a person in order to turn their body into a commodity, right? In order to make money off of their body at the expense of what is in that person's best interest. And it takes mind control to do this, because a human being is not in their right mind naturally going to do that. What's interesting is that all these mind control techniques, they can be applied in different areas of society, used in different ways, but they're all the same techniques. And so when you start to see them, like if you start to understand narcissistic dynamics on an individual level, then you can see those on a broader level. Okay, if you can start to see the cult dynamics and brain control techniques used by the beauty industry, then you can start to see them in the pharmaceutical industry, because it's all the same. It's the same formula. So I have two resources for you if you are ready to do that work, if you're ready to first physically reconnect with your intuition and learn how to listen to your body, and second, understand those mind control and cult dynamics and use critical thinking around that. The first is my book, The Invisible Corset. This is on pre-order right now, and it is out in just a couple weeks, which is very exciting. So this book dives into how women have been divorced from our body, cut off from our intuition by the beauty industry in particular, okay? And why that has happened, because it's no accident. It's been very intentional. The history in this book is going to be really interesting for you, something that you have never learned in your school or women's studies or any kind of educational situation, really eye-opening. And what I dive into in the second half of the book is really actionable techniques that I use with my clients to help them reconnect to their intuition, to listen to their bodies, okay? First step, and you can get that at invisiblecorset.com. It's on pre-order at all major booksellers. The second resource is a free online course that I have. It's called Body Reconnection 101. It's typically a $50 value, but currently it is free. It's a gift for those of you who pre-order the Invisible Corset. So that is available at invisiblecorset.com. There's a big button that says Body Reconnection Course. It's on the Honor System, so it's really easy to access, and I trust you that those of you who are going to enjoy this course have pre-ordered the book, and I really appreciate that and your support. This course, I think, is going to be a big eye-opener for you. Some really beautiful therapies and techniques to listen to your intuition, to get reconnected to your body in 15 minutes a day. So not a big time investment, but really a beautiful tool for you to use. So again, that's at invisiblecorset.com. I think we're going to be in for a pretty rough couple of weeks here in the world, and I just want you to know that when you do this work of reconnecting with your intuition, you can find stability and peace no matter what is happening. That has been one of the most profound gifts that I have given myself, and it's actually been a surprise. I didn't know that was going to happen when I embarked on this journey to heal the relationship with my body. And so I wish the same for you, and I hope these resources are helpful. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.